What's up guys, Ronnie here and welcome to this Tiamat guide today. Now Tiamat has been absolutely tearing it apart in the ladder lately, and she has just proven to be an absolute nuisance whenever you draft her. And here I want to go into some of the few different builds that are going around. There are some niche builds, some strats that people are thinking of as well, building the Tiamat. I will go over which of these builds I personally prefer, and also in terms of shells, in terms of drafts and so forth, what you want to look at. So first up, we have the pretty standard Bramble Blob buff. This is the first standard way, and with the Bramble Blob buff you have basically two shells you can run. You can either run an Amber or you can run a Lighthouse. Now I ran Lighthouse for a long time. That said, I personally just switched to Amber, as the thing about the Lighthouse is it is very nice in terms of you being able to not just getting tapped like that real quick. That said, because you have such a high HP pool and you're so tanky yourself anyways, it kind of needs some time to proc that Lighthouse, you know? You often just eat a lot of chip damage instead of proccing that Lighthouse, and the Amber, the good thing about the Amber is it's better against the cleave control players, as it will just remove all of your debuffs from you and it will give you a second life. On top of it, what I like about the Amber is against the Mizuki specifically, your Tiamat is under a lot of threat. If you play Lighthouse against Mizuki, it can be very well game over for your Tiamat very quickly. And with the Amber, you just have a second chance that can help you try and deal with a Mizuki if your opponent still gets that Mizuki in their draft. Now, as you already saw on the substats, let's go into the substats real quick on our shells. I think the passive HP percent is a no-brainer. Then here I have crit rate. I think crit rate or speed is what you can go for. And then here I have damage for the Tiamat, 8% more damage. Now here you have multiple options. You can go for more bonus damage for her. You can also go for less damage taken for her. Or you can also go for the insight, where you get higher F accuracy and F res at the beginning of the game, helping you to get some crucial taunts maybe in there. That said, I do not like the insight that much, simply because I play a lot of Tiamat lately and I don't really need to use that taunt that often. I think in some cases where you have that insight, it's gonna be amazing for you to be able to land that taunt and gonna be game winning for sure. But in most of the cases you don't really need the taunt, and this is why I went for just more damage, straight up more damage in here. And as you can already see on the right side, we have HP, crit rate, HP. And we're at around 80% crit rate. Then as for the matrix effects, you want Bramble any day of the week. And this is a no-brainer. You're always gonna play Tiamat on Bramble. Then Blob buff, if you play her standard. And then whatever shell you're running, it's either Swift Smite or it's gonna be or it's also going to be a Coloss Guard for the Lighthouse, for example, just to fill out your slot there. And if we take a look at his, we can see she's at 50,000 HP, 80% crit, some at F accuracy, not much, some crit damage, not much. Very slow, but it's okay for her to be a toddler, because the less she goes, the less counterattacks she consumes, and therefore she will not be getting counterattacked that often at the beginning of the fight from the likes of a Mizuki and so forth, when you're still setting up everything for yourself. Then in terms of the skill ups, I have her 115. I think she, out of all of the bruisers, is the best bruiser in terms of low investment. You can run her at 111 and she's gonna perform exceptionally well already. That said, I like the bonus damage, plus you get some more HP when you transform into ult, and some more damage from the ult, which is nice. Then here, on that note, the S1, you can go for a level 1 here, and this is going to be helpful against cleavers or short matches where you can just, her S1 hits like a truck when she's high HP, and you get then just 10% more damage on that. Then on the other hand, I purposefully did not level this up for a few reasons here. And that is, if we go and take a look here, we have speed in here, which is nice. We have extra ult recovery, which is nice. And we have a faster HP trigger rate of gaining bloodshed, which is kind of nice as well for her to transform faster. But sometimes I want her to not transform that fast, especially if our opponent drafts that Mizuki. I don't want her to... I want to avoid the Mizuki counters at the beginning of the fight for as long as possible. And therefore, if she's slower, and if she's triggering the bloodshed later, and she's not taking so much damage from her team, she will transform later, and might be able to have a bit of a better time there. That said, there's pros and cons to both of this, but because of that, and because no one really has many Latisse just like me, I didn't skill this up. Same for the skill 2, I didn't skill up at all, to be honest. I think maybe someday in the future, if we would ever be able to get more skill ups, and the meta goes away from a healer meta, you could maybe think about skilling up that plus skilling up the S1 to get a massive shield, and then play her more as a mitigation knight for your team. Now as for the builds, I told you guys there's even more builds going around, or in theory around right now, and that is something where you would neglect the Blob buff and you would go either HP or Kenai instead of it, and have as much damage on the Tiamat as possible, and basically just trying to use her as an anti-cleave option to just wipe the floor with the entire enemy team. That said, from the people I've talked to, for her to be able to just one-tap these cleavers, she kinda needs a lot of investment. She even needs some dupes and everything, and very good gear. So for that reason, and because she works so well in turn 2, I would highly recommend the Blob buff build as of now, and then look from there. And here we have exactly such case here, where we drafted the Tiamat, and our opponent goes the double counters into the Tiamat, being Rahu and Mizuki. And we still managed to come out on top, simply because we had our Tiamat on the Amber being able to survive for long, and of course we had extreme amounts of healing output on our side, while being able to just have more sustained damage output from that Tiamat overall. The Viper is on a DPS build at the moment. I'm currently running the Viper on the Jackal Guard. We increased the Tiamat HP, very standard, to get her stronger and stronger. Then here, Mizuki takes a turn. I just heal up, I just heal up here. I put in the shield simply because I know I'm not really going to kill anyone anytime soon, so I might as well just make sure that he's not gonna have that easy of a chance to kill my team either. So I just S2 there, and start hitting the Fushu, simply because everyone's in their ult, trying to get the silence on the Lily, and go from there. And we're basically super tanky here with the double healers and the Viper, of course, and we are just playing the long game. Now, some of the other games, when you have a Tiamat, let's go into the drafts actually. When you have the Tiamat with someone like a Lily, the Tiamat literally rips your opponent's team apart. If you have a Tiamat with a Lily, it is disgusting, guys. Like, she just rinses your opponent away. Like, disgusting amounts of damage that are gonna come out, because she can just ult, get so many attacks that more often than not the enemy healer is not even gonna be able to keep up with her damage output. And with the Lily, insane damage from her, of course. So if my opponent wouldn't have picked the Lily, I probably would have went the Lily myself instead of a Viper there. But you can't always have everything here, right? So in terms of the units, I think Tiamat works exceptionally well with the Lily. You have to be wary of the Rahu and the Mizuki. These two are a big threat to the Tiamat. Still playable, as you can see here, but they're usually having a bit of the upper hand against the Tiamat. Of course, there's other units that are quite decent into the Tiamat, such as the Heinrich and Selins, but they're not as oppressive for the Tiamat, and more often than not, as you will be able to stall out the game long enough for her to still do her thing. And there's that about her. Now, as you can see here, we are anti-healed, which is a bit of a problem for our Tiamat. That said, simply because we have that Amber, we are pretty much safe, even if he would go for her at the moment. And there we go. We're slowly whittling him down. There goes our Viper. Because the Lily just generates too much tempo for him. He's trying to gun our Tiamat down. And he's doing a very good job on that note. But, as you were able to see, we have too much healing. And also the Sanya is another one. The Sanya works exceptional with the Tiamat. Fushu works also very well with the Tiamat. These are the ones they will look out for. Especially the Sanya being able to increase her max HP is immaculate. And Fushu being able to just keep your team alive for such a long time, giving you the cycling, is also very good. As you can see here, we're getting lower and lower on the Tiamat, and if our Tiamat dies with a lighthouse there, it's over. But since we have the Amber on our Tiamat, we're completely fine. And we're not even worried about him killing us here, because we're gonna go into the Amber here, there we go, and we'll be good to go. And this is kinda already it in terms of that game. Like I said, Mizuki and the Rahu are the biggest threats, plus a Lily and the Lilium actually. These are the Lilium is also a big threat to the Tiamat as well. These are kind of the main threats that you need to worry about. I think against Holton she's doing fantastically well. If you can secure a Sanya for your Tiamat starts hitting like a truck. If you can secure a Lily for your Tiamat, she's gonna hit even more like a truck. And her damage is insane. Her damage is absolutely insane. I wish I had a faster match now in the last few games, where I would be able to show you guys that the Tiamat just with a Lily rips through your opponent as if they were butter. But that's already but this is already kind of the game here. As you see, it's just a slow burner of a game at this point. Trying to strip here. Fushu keeping everyone alive as long as she wants to. And we're just increasing the Tiamat's max HP again after she lost it from the Amber. Go for that hit in there. Trying to get that damage done. Even if she kills our Tiamat here, the healing is already so low that as long as we do enough damage now, and his Mizuki is gonna fall down, we're gonna be in a very good spot. So this is why we were not afraid to hit the Mizuki there, even if she can do good amounts of damage to our Tiamat on that note. We have the cleansers here as well. Get some slight HP increases in there. Hope for a counter attack in here. We get the counter. It's barely any damage no more, as she is so low life, of course. But he's at the back foot, our DPS Viper. Even if he's not that well built at the moment, he is gonna do the finishing touches here for the Mizuki. As you can see, we're just playing a bit more aggressive here. And this is already the game. As you can see, she can still win against Mizuki, which is the crazy part in my opinion. And she's definitely absolutely menacing at the moment. I really like the Amber, honestly, currently. But of course, that's just my personal preference. We get here the Jackal Guard proc, and there goes the Mizuki, and that's GG's. And that's already it from my side. Just a little showcase plus the guide on in terms of the builds that you can run. I personally really like the Amber build. I also like to have that bonus damage here, the 8% bonus damage or 12% if you get good rolls over the F-res and F-accuracy at the moment. But the increased tankiness, if you have the reduced damage taken, that can also work for her as well. There's many possibilities on that note. With that, have fun with your Tiamats, tearing the opponents apart. I'm Ronnie, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace!